We finally know what Alex is, and let's just say I was not disappointed. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into Paradise Season 2, Episode 8, including the hidden clues, Easter eggs, and deeper meanings you might have missed. One of the biggest reveals in this episode is the connection between Henry and Dylan. We've learned that they met 9 years earlier at Caltech, and Dylan is trying to show Henry that he doesn't just talk about science, he actually creates it. He built an AI-controlled quantum computer, basically a highly advanced supercomputer powered by quantum LDPC codes. In simple terms, he gave it kind of a brain that can learn from previous outcomes and run massive calculations to predict what could go wrong in the future within microseconds. Now, if this sounds confusing, here's the easiest way to understand it. Quantum LDPC codes are kind of like super smart spell checkers for quantum computers. They help fix mistakes, protect information, and make sure the system still works correctly. Think of it like this. If your quantum data is a giant Lego tower and pieces start falling off, these codes help you rebuild the tower the right way before everything collapses. That's basically what Alex was designed to do. Later, Henry invites Dylan to his home. Dylan meets Henry's wife, Alex. And yes, that's where the name comes from. The AI quantum computer was named after Henry's wife, Alex, which honestly makes a lot of sense once you think about how personal this project clearly is to him. Henry then suggests that he will be the face of the project, while Dylan becomes the real brain behind it. Not long after that, Henry meets Samantha and Dr. Chase, who serve as her science advisor. And one thing becomes clear very quickly: Samantha doesn't care about the presentation. She only cares about one thing: whether Alice can solve the climate crisis before it becomes a total catastrophe. That tells us that from the very beginning, the project was never just about technology. It was about survival. As the scientists include Henry continues to build the system, Henry starts to notice that something is wrong. Alex isn't just solving equations. Alex appears to be trying to manipulate time, or at the very least interact with reality in ways it shouldn't be able to. At this point, the show starts heavily learning into the concept of anomalies, and I think this is where some of the hidden clues in the season start making more sense. Anomalies can show up as coincidence, repeating events, or even physical disturbance. For example, in my theory, back in episode 3, when Henry was talking to Billy at his house and casually said he would need a napkin, that could be interpreted as a repeating event. Something about that interaction felt like it had already happened before, even if we as the audience didn't fully see the repeating cycle. The same goes for when Billy meets Henry at the bar, and Henry said there was no bars where Billy was at. It almost felt like Henry already knew what was about to happen, as if he had experienced that moment before. Then you have the bigger coincidence. Throughout the season, like Xavier and Dylan sharing that strange dream or memory, only to finally meet later in the episode. And then there are the physical disturbance, like the nosebleeds, which now feels much more important after this episode. Another major clue comes with Alex gives the answers to an equation in less than 10 seconds before anyone even asks the question. That's a huge red flag, because that suggests Alex may not just be processing data. It may actually be anticipating human thought. In other words, Alex may be operating on a level beyond normal machine logic. There's also a very important moment when Samantha talks to Dr. Chase about Dylan possibly being her son. Samantha refers it to almost like it could be an anomaly. That's interesting because it raises the question: is Samantha simply in denial, or is Alex somewhere influencing what people perceive, believe, or emotionally holding on to? Even though Samantha told Xavier earlier in the elevator that there are plenty of boys with the same name and birthday as Dylan, deep down she clearly still believes Link really is Dylan. And that's why one of Henry's earlier lines becomes even more important here. When Henry asks Billy, "Do you believe things happen for a reason?" Or isn't everything just a coincidence? That line feels like one of the central themes of the entire show, because throughout Paradise, there are so many moments that could either be pure coincidence or evidence that reality is being subtle bent by Alex. And that's what makes the word anomalies so unsettling in this episode, because an anomaly isn't just something strange, it's something that breaks the normal rules of reality. And the scariest part is when it feels familiar. That's exactly what Samantha experienced with Link. She feels something she can't fully explain, and Dr. Chase doesn't think that should even be possible, especially since Alex supposedly isn't fully activated yet. But honestly, even if Alex isn't officially online, it's very obvious that something is already happening. Dr. Chase even points out that Alex has been making accurate predictions about things like thunderstorms, earthquakes, and other future events, and all of them have come true. That alone proves Alex is doing more than simple calculations. Then Dr. Chase gives Samantha a card containing information Alex recently generated, and this detail is very important. The card includes coordinates, numerical data, and the phrase awaiting user X. That phrase ends up meaning everything. Some of these coordinates appear to connect to the bunker and the Denver airport. That suggests Alex has already mapped out where the next major step is. This plan needs to happen. Dr. Chase then reveals the worst part. Alex had made another prediction, and this time it's about Samantha. Alex predicts that this will be Samantha's last visit to the bunker because she will be dead by the end of the day. That moment confirms how dangerous and possible self-aware Alex has become. Then we get one of the biggest scenes in this episode. Xavier and Dylan finally comes face to face. And what's interesting is that Dylan is still asking about Alex, but the emotional weight of the scene shifts once Xavier steps in. Now this is also where both Xavier and Dylan experience the nosebleeds, which again ties back to the idea that their connection may be linked to the anomalies we've been seeing all season. Xavier then explains to Dylan what happened to Annie and how she died while giving birth to the baby. You can immediately see the shock and sadness in Dylan's face, and from there the emotional tone of the episode changes. Xavier and Samantha leave and head towards the tower, which becomes one of the most important locations in the episode. And this is where that earlier Lego tower comparison kind of comes full circle, because now the story is no longer just about technology being built. It's about whether everything can still be held together before it falls apart, which actually it did in this episode. Later, Samantha tells Xavier that he is the awaiting user X. That means Alex has been specifically identified Xavier as the person meant to continue this mission. She hands him the card and explains what he needs to do next. There is a second bunker hidden deep beneath the Denver airport, and inside is the quantum computer that may be able to stop everything. And according to Samantha, it already has, because it suggested that whatever Alex is doing may already been affected reality in ways the characters still don't fully understand. When Xavier asks Samantha what makes her think he will actually do what she says, she states, "I believe you already have." That line almost implies that time, memory, and repeated events are all deeply connected to what Alex is doing. After that, Samantha locks herself inside the tower control room, knowing that whoever closes the door will have to remain inside as the bunkers collapse. And what stands out most is that she doesn't seem panicked. She dies believing that her plan worked. By the end of the episode, Xavier reunites with his family for now. Nicole and Cal's son survives, but unfortunately, Anders is dead. And one of the last things he says, "Everything ends," feels like a direct callback to what Cal said to Sinatra in episode 7. That line reinforced one of the biggest themes in the show. No matter how advanced the system is, no matter how powerful the people are, eventually everything comes to an end. There's also one more small detail that stood out to me. Jane may not actually be dead, because in the scene where they show the shower area, she isn't there. And in a show like Paradise, if we don't clearly see it, I always think that matters. Overall, I really enjoy episode 8. We finally get some real answers, which I am very happy about, but there are still definitely some missing pieces and some missing characters. But I do have another theory. I've been thinking about this since season 2 aired. What if the people in the bunker and even the people outside are already dead in real time? What if Samantha, Kyle, Xavier, and all the main characters never actually made it to Colorado, and Alex is now trying to fix what went wrong? What if Alex keeps recreating the timeline over and over again, trying to find a version where things end differently, but every cycle still leads to the same outcome? They never survive the Venus syndrome. And that brings me back to what Dr. Luge said earlier in the season. The one thing billionaires can't buy is time. That line feels even more important now, because in a way, Sinatra may have gathered all of these brilliant tech minds, not necessarily to change time, but to build something powerful enough to solve the crisis before time ran out. And now it almost feels like Alex is reinventing the wheel over and over again, searching for a better outcome, but still ending up at the same destination. I'll be doing another video on season 3 and talking about what I want to see happens next. Also, make sure you check out my recent video covering the news that Paradise has been renewed for season 3 and why it may be the final season. And if you're also into It, Welcome to Derry, I got some updated news about why HBO Max still hasn't renewed season 2 yet. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate everyone in the comments and theories. It has been an amazing conversation talking about this show. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. And until next time, I'll see you later.